Chapter 1021 Yunshao Sect Elder. A while later, Yi Qingtang suddenly opened her eyes. She arrived at the mountain behind the Yi residence in a moment. Swoosh! With a piercing sound, Yi Qingtang's body duplicated from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 4. Several ladies with the same appearance as Yi Qingtang looked at each other without uttering a word. Subsequently, Yi Qingtang activated her divine sense, and the incarnations immediately engaged in a battle. 15 minutes later, they faded away and vanished without a trace. It's still a little insufficient, Yi Qingtang mumbled. Yi Qingtang was currently executing an extremely special martial skill. Apart from requiring the cultivator to own a significantly high martial realm, the true incarnation technique was even more demanding on the cultivator's mental level, where one could barely control and cultivate the skill only when they possessed the mental energy level of a heavenly venerate. Otherwise, when one's mental energy was insufficient, they would be instantly devoured by the incarnation, which was an extremely scary situation. However, Yi Qingtang lived 2 lifetimes, and her mental energy was immensely powerful. Even an ordinary holy venerate would lose out to her in a competition of mental energy level. When cultivated to the finest, the incarnation technique would allow the incarnations to share the same sight as the original body. If the venerate's mental energy was powerful enough, they could even give the incarnation a certain amount of analytical ability and instincts. For Yi Qingtang, if it was said that her current level was sufficient, it was because her mental energy was extremely powerful and enough to master the incarnation technique. Yet, in another light, her current level was insufficient because she was only a young lord of the yin-yang perfected lord realm. Ultimately, she could only barely execute the incarnation technique. According to her observation, the incarnations at most possessed the combat power of a yin-yang perfected lord's 6th heaven, which was neither powerful nor weak. However, given her current level, the cultivated incarnation technique was enough. Yi Qingtang believed that in no time, she could raise her incarnation technique to the peak and allow each incarnation to possess the same martial realm as herself. As for palm skill and swordplay, Yi Qingtang had already chosen techniques and recultivated them. Cultivating these again were much simpler in comparison to the incarnation technique. At the same time, a few kilometers outside Lin Town, 2 emotionless elderlies in white shirts headed in the direction of Lin Town. A totem of Yunshao's sect was embroidered on the clothes of these 2 elderlies, symbolizing that they were Yunshao's sect elders. Back when Yi Qingtang obtained the Fiend Celestial Beast in the 100-level Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, Yunshao's sect burned with rage and immediately deployed its elders to lay low around the Yi family of Lin Town. In order to not alert anyone, they did not strike at the Yi family and merely waited for Yi Qingtang to return back to Lin Town and the Yi family. If Yi Qingtang returned to the Yi family, the 2 elders would attack immediately and capture Yi Qingtang back to Yunshao's sect. Nonetheless, sometime before, Baiming Manor, the strongest force in Formidable Heaven's dynasty, convened all the super sects in Formidable Heaven's dynasty, and all senior members of these super sects were required to attend. As Yunshao's sect elders, the 2 elderlies in white were unable to avoid it and thus could only leave Lin Town temporarily and return to Yunshao's sect, where they headed to Baiming Manor together with other Yunshao's sect senior members. Today, the 2 elders just left Baiming Manor and rushed back to Lin Town immediately without any delay. Although there was once news that Yi Qingtang seemed to have appeared in Nine Nights' dynasty, the Yi family of Lin Town was ultimately her roots. Her father and family were all here, and the 2 Yunshao sect elders did not believe that Yi Qingtang would not return to visit her loved ones. Chapter 1022 To the doorstep. The moment the 2 Yunshao sect elders entered Lin Town, their expressions changed slightly, and they were rather surprised. For some reason, the Long family, which had been a tyrant in Lin Town over the past 2 years, disappeared without a trace as though it simply evaporated into thin air. Nonetheless, whatever that happened to the Long family naturally had nothing to do with the two Yunshao sect elders, and they merely found it strange. Elder Yin, look at that person. One of the elderlies frowned slightly as he pointed at the lady who was walking toward the sea residence. Immediately, the elderly who was called Elder Yin turned around and sized up that lady. Elder Gu, take out the portrait of Yi Qingtang, Elder Yin said hurriedly. Elder Gu took out the portrait. After unrolling the portrait, the person on it was none other than Yi Qingtang. Once the two Yunshao sect elders confirmed that it was Yi Qingtang, they scoffed automatically. They had been waiting in Lin Town for such a long time, and their target Yi Qingtang finally appeared. Sect Master is truly wise. He knew that Yi Qingtang would definitely return to Lin Town and ordered us to hide here and wait. Now, we have finally found her. Elder Gu mumbled as he kept the portrait. The two Yunshao sect elders did not see wrong, that lady was indeed Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang had just left the Yi family when the two Yunshao sect elders, who were just returning to Lin Town, discovered her. Currently, Yi Qingtang was walking toward the sea residence. Elder Gu, do you think we should strike now or wait a while? Elder Yin asked when he saw that Yi Qingtang entered the sea residence. Elder Gu pondered for a moment and eventually answered. Let's wait first. The fiend celestial beast is not following beside Yi Qingtang. If we act rashly and alert her now, our plan may backfire. The two people decided to wait for Yi Qingtang to leave the sea residence and then strike at the Yi residence. Other than fearing that it would alert Yi Qingtang, capturing and forcing an answer out of her in the sea residence might cause rumors to spread around. As such, they might as well attack her in the Yi residence. Just like that, the two Yunshao sect elders waited outside the door of the sea residence for at least 4 hours. Only at noon did Yi Qingtang step out of the residence slowly. It's really strange, Elder Gus' brows furrowed slightly. According to logic, if such a nobody obtained a fiend celestial beast, she would definitely keep it by her side all the time. But there is no sight of the fiend celestial beast around her, Elder Yin responded. Perhaps that lady left the fiend celestial beast in the Yi residence. There's no hurry. We can take action once this lady returns to the Yi residence. Are you afraid that we can't find that fiend celestial beast? Oh. Just a few steps after leaving the sea residence, Yi Qingtang took a look behind discreetly. While those two Yunshao sect elders concealed themselves very well, they were unable to escape Yi Qingtang's eyes. Yunshao sect, Yi Qingtang mumbled in thought. Unexpectedly, Yunshao's sect still remembered her even after such a long time. After returning to Formidable Heaven's dynasty, Yi Qingtang had not even found the time to settle scores with Yunshao's sect, but they came to her doorstep instead. How really considerate. Yi Qingtang remained placid and simply did not care about those two Yunshao sect elders. She continued to head back to the Yi residence. In the dark, the two Yunshao sect elders saw that Yi Qingtang was returning to the Yi residence and thus immediately headed in its direction. Chapter 1023 The Funniest Joke 1. Yi Qingtang was not at all surprised to see people from the Yunshao sect appear in Lin Town. In fact, she seemed to think it was perfectly natural. The Yunshao sect had been aware that she had obtained a fiend celestial beast in the hell of Avicenaralka. They would certainly not let it slide and would send senior members of the sect to Lin Town to stake out the Yi house and wait for her to appear. Little White Tiger had been sleeping for nearly half a month. It had awakened once during this period to tell Yi Qingtang that its body was undergoing a transformation and would need a lot of sleep. Yi Qingtang had already ordered a room to be cleared out in the Yi house for the Little White Tiger. She had placed the Little White Tiger in the room and asked the Lightning Dragon to guard it. Now, the Yunshao sect was unaware that it was courting disaster and was still thinking of snatching Yi Qingtang's fiend celestial beast. After she returned to the Yi house, Yi Qingtang retreated to the study without making an appearance. At that moment, the two elders from the Yunshao sect arrived in the vicinity of the Yi house. After studying it for a moment, they realized that the Yi house seemed rather different. The Yi family had previously been an ordinary clan in Lin Town. But now, it looked incredibly imposing, and the residence seemed to have expanded greatly. "Who are you?" Before the two elders from the Yunshao sect could enter the Yi house, they were blocked by several Yi family disciples who were guarding the door. "This is the territory of the Yi family. Miscellaneous people cannot approach." One of the talented youths who had just joined the Yi family shouted coldly. "Get lost." Elder Gu from the Yunshao sect looked at the Yi family disciple who had spoken and spoke calmly. When he heard Elder Gu's words, the Yi family disciple's expression immediately darkened. No one had ever dared to speak to him like that. "Ah, he's quite a braggart." Another young girl's gaze fell on Elder Gu of the Yunshao sect. "I asked you if Yi Qingtang has returned." Elder Yin spoke at that moment. "Oh, you know our family's eldest young lady." When they heard Elder Yin mention Yi Qingtang's name, the Yi family disciples were slightly taken aback. If these were the eldest young lad's friends, then they were in trouble. But they could not be blamed because these two men had not made themselves clear upon arrival. "Answer my question." Elder Yin was rather impatient. "Eldest young lady is indeed at home," one of the Yi family disciples said. "Very good. Has Yi Qingtang brought a little white tiger back, and is that little white tiger in the Yi family residence?" Elder Yin continued. When they heard the elderly man's tone, the Yi family disciples felt that something was amiss. If these two men were eldest young lad's friends, why would they speak so condescendingly? One of them realized that the totem unique to the Yunshao sect was embroidered on these two elderly men's robes and belongings, and they seemed to be senior members of a super sect. "We are elders of the Yunshao sect. Yi Qingtang has committed atrocious crimes and will be judged by the sect. If you want to live, you better not play any tricks." "Tell us the truth," Elder Gu said coldly. "Eldest young lady is going to be judged by the sect." When they heard Elder Yin's words, the newly minted Yi family disciples exchanged glances and then burst into laughter. This was the funniest joke they had heard in their lives. Even they had no regard for the little Yunshao sect. Now, it was wildly asserting that it would judge an invincible young lord, a peak 7th heaven young perfected lord. Even the Biming Manor would not dare to be so arrogant, much less the Yunshao sect with its power as a super sect. Oh. Chapter 1024 Playing Tricks. The Biming Manor was one of the three most powerful forces in this mainland. With the backing of a powerful young lord, its residence was filled with inscrutably powerful people. In this mainland, only the Peerless School and the Phantom Valley, with their extraordinary powers, could compare with the Biming Manor. However, even the lofty Biming Manor, with its extraordinary powers, might hesitate to speak of judging an invincible young lord. What was this Yunshao sect? It was not even worthy of licking Biming Manor's boots. Even if the master of the Yunshao sect arrived, he would only be worthy of kneeling to them. But these two, who were merely elders, dared to speak with an arrogance that even the Biming Manor might not dare to assume. Elder Gu and Elder Yin were enraged when they saw the Yi family disciples roar with laughter. "Ignorant youths, you must have a death wish." Elder Gu roared with anger as he looked at the Yi family. He was poised to strike. However, one of the youths hurriedly smiled and said, "Powerful sirs, please don't be angry. As you said, our eldest young lady has brought a little white tiger back to the Yi house, so we will allow the two powerful sirs to enter the Yi house." With that, the youth actually made way and retreated to the side. When they saw that, the other youths shook their head. This youth was just too mischievous. If they allowed these two super sect members into the Yi house, they would probably not leave alive. Even the other Yi family disciples could take their lives, not to speak of the others present. However, these youths were not stupid. They could tell that the Yunshao sect had some grievance with their eldest young lady. However, none of them could understand how they had summoned up the courage to attempt to capture a powerful young lord. Whatever the case may be, since they had spoken so arrogantly and been so rude to their eldest young lady, they must certainly die, and it would be all right to toy with them first. Hadn't you better scram? Elder Gu shouted coldly. Yes, yes, yes. I'm going, we're all going. Powerful sirs, please don't be angry. Our eldest young lady is in residence. If the powerful sirs want to capture her, now is the time. One of the youths spoke laughingly while the rest scattered in all directions. Elder Yin and Elder Gu thought that the attitude these Yi family disciples displayed was normal. After all, when nobody's encountered a truly powerful cultivator, they all adopted this attitude. They could even betray their own parents, much less the eldest young lady. Hee, family clans. Elder Yin laughed disdainfully and, together with Elder Gu, stepped over the threshold of the Yi house and entered the residence. After a moment, Elders Yin and Gu arrived in the courtyard of the Yi house. At that moment, more than 100 talented youths were in the Yi family courtyard, sparring and chatting. The most powerful of the Yi family's younger generation had already entered the realm of half-step yin-yang perfected lord and was on par with the two elders from the Yunshao sect. However, when Elder Yin and Elder Gu saw the younger members of the Yi family, they did not think much of the latter. A bystander could only identify the martial chi realm of a martial arts cultivator when he fought or deliberately showed his aura. In addition, these two elders had not considered what martial chi realm the Yi family's disciples were in, so they did not study them. In the same way, the two elders from the Yunshao sect had not bothered about what martial chi realm Yi Qingtang was in. If they did not even respect the master of the Xianling sect, why would they bother with the cultivation level of a disciple? Chapter 1025 Dare to make trouble in our presence at the same time, Yi Qingtang would certainly not pay attention to the cultivation realm of the two Yunshao sect elders. Even if someone told her that these two Yunshao sect elders were heavenly venerates, Yi Qingtang would definitely not believe them and vice versa. With her power, it would be a joke if Yi Qingtang still needed to be cautious and afraid of the threat these Yunshao sect elders posed. Whether it was the Long family of the past or the two Yunshao sect elders of the present, their way of thinking was all alike. No matter what, Elder Yin and Elder Gu would never have imagined that among the 100+ Yi family disciples, even the weakest had already achieved the second heaven of martial chi level 3. The most powerful one was already a half-step yin-yang perfected lord despite his young age and might be even more powerful than the two of them. Listen up, everyone. Elder Yin suddenly swept a glance at everyone present and shouted loudly. The force of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord spilled forth. The 100+ talented youths from the Yi family immediately looked over at Elder Yin and Elder Gu. Some of the talented disciples who were sparring in the martial arts arena stopped and looked in bewilderment at the two Yunshao sect elders. Had these two old men gone crazy? However, the 100+ Yi family disciples studied them for a moment and then realized that these two elderly men were unfamiliar and had never appeared in the Yi house before. They also did not seem like members of the Yi family. Yunshao sect. At that moment, several Yi family disciples noticed the Yunshao sect totem embroidered on these two elderly men's white robes, showing that they were elders of the Yunshao sect. May I ask why both of you have come to the Yi house? A youth with a cold expression looked at Elder Gu and Elder Yun and asked. Ask Yi Qingtang to come out, said Elder Gu coldly. Before they entered the Yi house, Elder Gu and Elder Yin had used their force to seal the entire Yi house. Even if Yi Qingtang knew that the Yunshao sect elders had arrived and tried to flee, it would be in vain. Sealed in by the force of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord, Yi Qingtang was effectively trapped in jail like sheep led to the slaughterhouse. It was impossible for her to run away from them. What are you saying? Do you want to see our eldest young lady? The youth immediately frowned. These two were merely half-step yin-yang perfected lords, yet they were so arrogant that they dared to call a yang lord by name, and they even wanted the yang lord to come and meet them. Perhaps you didn't understand what I said. I asked Yi Qingtang to come out. Elder Gu roared coldly as he looked at the youth. After a moment, the force of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord swept through the area and enclosed the youth. A cold light flashed across the youth's eyes. He was unafraid of the force displayed by Elder Gu. With an expressionless face, he said coldly, "You are seeking your death." Ha ha ha, these two old fellows actually used their force to seal the Yi house. I'm curious as to what they're up to. When they heard the Yi family disciples' ignorant words, a murderous look surfaced in the eyes of Elder Gu and Elder Yin. These Yi family disciples deserve to die. Yunshao sect elders. Who do you think you are? Why don't you look at where you are before you make trouble in our presence? Another 14 or 15-year-old half-step yin-yang perfected lord stepped forward. He waved his hand and instantly destroyed the force emitted by Elder Gu. Chapter 1026 Undermining the Foundation 1. At that moment, Elder Yin and Elder Gu were completely stunned. They looked with disbelief at the youth standing before them. With just a wave of his hand, this youth had actually completely dispersed their half-step yin-yang perfected lord's force. How is that possible? Elder Yin was especially shocked. He was previously so confident, but now, his half-step yin-yang perfected lord's force had been dispersed by an ordinary Yi family disciple with a wave of his hand. Just what level of cultivation had this youth achieved that he could instantly dissipate the force of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord? Oi, young man, what is your name? Elder Gu of the Yunshao sect steadied himself and asked the youth with the cold expression. Are the two of you worthy of knowing my name? The youth shouted coldly as he swept a glance at Elder Gu and Elder Yin. When they heard the youth's words, the two Yunshao sect elders were immediately enraged. They were Yunshao sect elders of the formidable Heavens dynasty. No matter where they went, everyone treated them with respect and spoke to them cautiously. But this young fellow dared to speak to them so rudely. You're merely a half-step yin-yang perfected lord despite your old age, yet you dare to come to our Yi house with this kind of attitude. Yunshao sect elders are rubbish. I think you two old fellows are too ignorant and arrogant. A clear female voice suddenly reached the ears of Elder Yin and Elder Gu. The two Yunshao sect elders saw a beautiful young girl among the Yi family members looking at them mockingly. It was not just the girl, even the other Yi family members were looking at the two world-famous super sect elders. Their eyes showed only disdain, with no trace of respect. Elder Yin and Elder Gu had never been treated like that before. Their expressions darkened. They thought of their lofty status in the Yunshao sect where numerous disciples cudgeled their brains to think of a way to enter their sect, but now these Yi family disciples dared to look at them so rudely. Elder Yin and Elder Gu looked coldly at the numerous Yi family disciples and immediately thought of making trouble for them. However, the youth who spoke previously swiftly sensed the change in their expressions and did not give the two Yunshao sect elders any opportunity to make trouble. He directly aimed a heavy blow at them. As the youth struck a blow, a blast of half-step yin-yang perfected lord force instantly shot up and spread in all directions. The spreading force immediately enclosed the two Yunshao sect elders. When they felt the impact of the force, both Elder Yin and Elder Gu were shocked. They were both half-step yin-yang perfected lords but had not imagined that this youth's martial strength would be on par with them, having attained the realm of half-step yin-yang perfected lord. Even the top disciples of the Yunshao sect could not compare with him in terms of ability. Only a few arrogant supernaturally talented youths in the Yunshao sect might be able to compare with him. In addition, this youth was probably a little younger than those supernaturally talented youths in the Yunshao sect. Elder Yin and Elder Gu immediately backed away from the force of the youth's blow. They retreated to avoid his blow. Chapter 1027 Undermining the Foundation. 2. I thought the Yi family had suddenly become daring. It turns out they've invited a half-step yin-yang perfected lord from somewhere to hold the fort, Elder Gu said coldly. In the eyes of Elder Yin and Elder Gu, a low-class family clan like the Yi family was as insignificant as an ant. Even so, the two Yunshao sect elders still had not realized that the Yi family of today was not the same as that of the past. They only thought that this youth, who was a half-step yin-yang perfected lord, had some connection with the Yi family and had been invited by the Yi family to hold the fort. Furthermore, the Yi family's current disdainful attitude was clearly due to this half-step yin-yang perfected lord, who was holding the fort. However, did the Yi family not realize that they could not move these two Yunshao sect elders by simply depending on a young half-step yin-yang perfected lord? The Yi family currently had only one half-step yin-yang perfected lord, but both of them were half-step yin-yang perfected lords. With 2 against 1, victory was certain. Young man, I take your outstanding talent into consideration. If you don't die in an accident, you will certainly achieve greatness in the future. Remaining in the Yi house will bring you nothing but harm. Elder Yin looked at the youth and spoke suddenly. That's right. Young fellow, if you are willing to come to our Yunshao sect, with your martial talents and powers, you could even become a disciple of the sect master. You will have a glorious future. However, if you stubbornly persist in resisting the Yunshao sect for the sake of the Yi family, you will be damned and your bones reduced to ashes. Elder Gu also nodded. It was not that Elder Yin and Elder Gu wished to nurture talent, but the youth standing before them was on par with them. Even if they could kill him, it would take some effort. However, if they could bring this superbly talented youth back to the Yunshao sect to become a Yunshao sect disciple, the sect master would be very pleased. Furthermore, it would greatly benefit the Yunshao sect to have another supernaturally talented person like that. In addition, they did not think that a lowly family clan like the Yi family could retain a supernaturally talented person like that. Anyone with the least bit of intelligence could see the divide between the Yunshao sect and the Yi family. No matter what connection this youth had with the Yi family, he should also know that the benefits the Yunshao sect could give him were far greater than that of the little Yi family. When they heard the two Yunshao sect elders invite the youth to join the Yunshao sect, the 100+ youths in the Yi house courtyard all looked rather peculiar. These two Yunshao sect elders actually wanted to attract a Yi family disciple over to the Yunshao sect to cultivate. That was really funny. They expended a huge amount of effort to pass Elder Bai Kuei and Elder Zi Jin's almost pervertedly difficult test to become Yi family disciples. And now these two Yunshao sect elders actually wanted them to leave the Yi family and join the Yunshao sect. Was this some kind of joke? Was the Yunshao sect worthy? You want me to join the Yunshao sect? The youth stared at the two Yunshao sect elders and laughed coldly. When they heard that, Elder Gu assumed that the youth had accepted his invitation. He put on an arrogant attitude and said, "Not everyone, just you." The youth's expression immediately became rather strange. A faint smile seemed to hang on his lips. Why, do you Yunshao sect elders think only he is worthy, but not us? Just as Elder Gu finished speaking, several youths slowly emerged from the crowd of Yi family members. Chapter 1028 Undermining the Foundation. 3. Before the two Yunshao sect elders could speak, the youth's martial force shot skywards and seemed to disperse the clouds in the sky. These forces belonging to half-step yin-yang perfected lords spilled forth together like a flood and gathered together like a rushing river. The shocking martial force caused everyone to shudder. The two Yunshao sect elders were shocked and they sensed the force of several other half-step yin-yang perfected lords. They had not expected the Yi family to have as many as 4 or 5 half-step yin-yang perfected lords. Just as Elder Yin and Elder Gu were in shock. What's the matter? You think highly of those half-step yin-yang perfected lords but are disdainful of us. Since when has the Yunshao sect become so greedy? The remaining 100+ Yi family disciples immediately spoke up. Brothers and sisters, let us show these two lofty Yunshao sect elders if we are worthy to enter their Yunshao sect to cultivate. One of the slightly older Yi family disciples glanced at everyone and spoke. My thoughts exactly. Ha! I resent being looked down on by the Yunshao sect. It is merely the Yunshao sect, but it has become so greedy that it dares to come to our Yi house and make trouble. Let's show them whether we Yi family disciples are worthy of being noticed by the Yunshao sect. As they spoke, over 100 martial forces were simultaneously produced by the 100 Yi family disciples. Like a formless gust of air, it swept the area within a radius of 10 miles. Among the 100 over martial forces, the weakest of them had already entered the realm of martial Qi level 3, while the strongest was one step away from transforming into a yin-yang perfected lord. This force seemed to fill the heavens, the earth, the seas, and the mountains. Even every corner of the world seemed to be permeated with it. It was like the raging of ocean waves or like the tremors of a mountain quaking, like the heavens being rent or like the earth collapsing. The integration of 100+ martial forces was terrifying, especially the explosion that followed its coalition, which extended for a radius of 10 miles. At the same time, everyone from the Si family and the 3 branches of the Yi family also sensed it. The master of the Si family did not know what had happened in the Yi house. However, he unhesitatingly led the powerful cultivators in his family straight to the Yi house. The 3 branches of the Yi family and the 3 powerful yin-yang perfected lords led the senior members and talented youths of the branches and also hurried to the Yi family headquarters in unison. At that moment in the Yi family's headquarters, the 2 Yunshao sect elders who, in the midst of these waves of forces, were like lone boats adrift on a raging sea. What's going on? Yi Ling and second elder rapidly sensed this frightening force and appeared at the same time, bewildered. They thought that the talented disciples had been sparring and making mischief and that they had caused trouble. However, when they arrived, things did not seem to be what they had imagined. Greetings, master and elders. When they saw that Yi Ling and a few elders had appeared, the Yi family disciples in the courtyard withdrew their martial force and spoke respectfully. Who are they? The great elder asked when he looked at the 2 Yunshao sect elders and saw that they were strangers. Great elder, these 2 are Yunshao sect elders. Yi Ling laughed. What? Yunshao sect? Chapter 1029. So what if it's Yunshao sect? 1. When they heard that, the expressions of the great elder, second elder, third elder, and even the master, Yi Ling, all changed. As a super sect, the intimidating reputation of the Yunshao sect was deeply rooted in the elders and Yi Ling. When they heard that 2 Yunshao sect elders had come to the Yi house, they were stunned, and that was why their expressions changed. Yunshao sect, why have they come to the Yi house? Third elder was slightly pale, and cold sweat seeped from his brow. The great elder frowned slightly in thought for a moment before he looked at the third elder and said, Third elder. What do you think of the Yunshao sect? The third elder was taken aback by these words. Great elder, the Yunshao sect is a super sect, and super sects. The third elder had not yet completed his sentence when he suddenly snapped out of his trance. The fear on his face slowly faded, and he also frowned. That's right. So what if it's the Yunshao sect? Master, what do you think of the Yunshao sect? The third elder stared at Yi Ling. What about the Yunshao sect? Yi Ling was lost. Master, elders, the Yunshao sect is nothing. The third elder's expression changed, and he regained his composure. Their Yi family currently held high status. If even the weakest of their talented young disciples went forward, they would compare favorably with the top supernaturally talented disciples in the Yunshao sect. Besides this, mainland's peerless school, Baiming Manor, and Phantom Valley, which were supremely powerful, no other super sect's power could compare with that of the Yi family, be it in the Nine Knights dynasty or the formidable Heavens dynasty. That's right, the Yunshao sect is nothing. Second elder nodded rapidly. When he heard that the Yunshao sect elders had arrived, the second elder had reverted to his old ways of thinking that the Yunshao sect was a huge entity. If the Yunshao sect wanted to, they could exterminate a small family clan like theirs on a whim. However, the second elder and the others had forgotten that the Yi family of the present could not be compared to the Yi family of the past. In the past, if the Yunshao sect elders had made a personal appearance, everyone from the Yi family would naturally show profound respect and humility. However, that was the past, not the present. The present Yi family was not the Yi family of the past. Yunshao sect. The great elder frowned slightly. What about the Yunshao sect? Is our Yi house a place where anyone can just go in and out casually? If they wish to enter our Yi house, even the sect master must announce his intentions in advance and wait for our approval, much less the elders. Great elder, you may not be aware that these two Yunshao sect elders are not here to visit the Yi house. One of the Yi family disciples, Yi Ling, suddenly spoke up. When they heard that, the great elder, the third elder, and the others were slightly taken aback. If they were not here on a visit, then why were they here? Great elder, these two Yunshao sect elders are unbearably arrogant. They have come to the Yi house to capture eldest young lady. They have also been talking wildly about exterminating our Yi family. Yi Ling looked at Yi Ling and the elders and added fuel to the fire. What did you say? The second elder was immediately enraged. Every word that I have said is true, isn't that right? Yi Ling immediately looked at Yi Yifan, who had changed his surname to Yi. That's right. Elder brother Yi Ling is speaking the truth. Yi Yifan nodded repeatedly and corroborated Yi Ling's words. Yifan, is what you are saying true? The great elder looked at Yi Yifan. Grandfather, it is all true. The 100+ brothers and sisters present also heard them clearly. Every word is true. Yi Yifan's face was filled with certainty. Chapter 1030. So what if it's Yunshao sect, too, impudent? The second elder looked at Elder Gu and Elder Yin and roared furiously. You're merely Yunshao sect elders, yet you're so arrogant in my Yi family. With just you two good-for-nothings, how dare you all think of capturing the eldest young lady of my Yi family? Elder Yin and Elder Gu were taken aback. A while ago, they clearly noticed that these senior members of the Yi family appeared fearful after learning of their identities, but that fear was crushed in an instant. Not only were the senior members not fearful, but they were even disrespectful. Elder Gu and Elder Yin gritted their teeth and glared at Yi family members. Never had they thought that there would be a day where they would be humiliated by cultivators at the ordinary martial realm. How dare they proclaim that they, half-step yin-yang perfected lords, are good-for-nothings. Yi Ling's expression changed drastically in an instant. Looking at those two Yunshao sect elders, his eyes twinkled coldly. How audacious of you two! How dare mere two half-step yin-yang perfected lords barge into my Yi family to capture my daughter? Not mentioning two Yunshao sect elders, even if your Yunshao sect master brings all the powerful figures over here, my Yi family will ensure that all of you will not be able to return. 2 days ago, Yi Ling and Yi Qingtang had a long talk, and he learned of the enmity between her and Yunshao sect. Their Yi family had yet to find time to stir troubles for Yunshao's sect, but Yunshao's sect delivered themselves to the Yi family on their own accord. Humph. A mere Yunshao sect truly doesn't know fear. Since you two are already here at my Yi residence today, just stay then. Don't go anywhere else. The great elder shouted coldly. At this instant, the two Yunshao sect elders were surprised and even in disbelief. Before they headed to Lin Town, they already knew about the rough situation of the Yi family. The Yi family was only a small family clan of the remote Lin Town, and a family clan like the Yi family was unworthy of even clinging on to the threshold of Yunshao's sect. Yet, who could have thought that the Yi family would change so drastically in just half a month? Leaving aside the hundreds of frighteningly talented young disciples in the Yi family, what the Yunshao sect elders could not comprehend was the useless clan master and elders of the Yi family. These people clearly knew that they were Yunshao sect elders yet still dared to speak so wildly and say such things. No matter how slow the two Yunshao sect elders were, they now realized that something was wrong with the Yi family. However, Elder Yin and Elder Gu did not dare to act rashly. The hundreds of Yi family disciples were pretty skilled, and if they fought them, they were afraid that the two of them would be defeated by these members of the younger generation of the Yi family. Then, Clan Master Si brought a few yin-yang perfected lords of the Si family into the Yi residence. What happened? Clan Master Si noticed that the atmosphere of the Yi family was a little off and asked immediately. Powerful oppressive forces were emitted from the Yi residence previously, and Clan Master Si thought that something happened. It turned out that it was indeed so after entering the Yi residence. The third elder recounted the situation to the Si family members immediately. After listening to what the third elder said, Clan Master Si sized up Elder Yin and Elder Gu and scoffed. Although Yunshao's sect was a super sect and a mighty force in the formidable Heavens dynasty, it could not even be compared to the Si family currently and yet was still so arrogant. They were just two elders, and they dared to come to the Yi family to arrest Tang Tang. Chapter 1031 So what if it's Yunshao's sect? 3. Who exactly gave them this courage? What laughing stock! At this instant, the yin-yang perfected Lord branch masters of the other three branches rushed over to the headquarters along with their respective senior members and talented disciples. In no time, the Yi family field was filled with people, and all of them were powerful figures. Yunshao's sect is truly a good example for the super sections. If the Nine Knights dynasty and formidable Heavens dynasty were as bold as the Yunshao sect, it would really be worthwhile. A branch master scorned as he stared at Elder Yin and Elder Gu. The two Yunshao sect elders had the skills of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord and came to the current Yi residence just by themselves, wanting to catch the Yi family's eldest young lady who was a yang lord. Was the entire Yunshao sect a group of idiots? At this moment, Elder Yin and Elder Gu were struck with astonishment. Regardless of the Yi family or Si family, numerous yin-yang perfected lords actually appeared in both families. The two Yunshao sect elders even knew the names of some of the yin-yang perfected lords. These people were not even supposed to appear in Lin Town, yet for some reason, they were all gathered in this remote town. How can this be? Yin-yang perfected lord. You all. Feeling the powerful skills of several yin-yang perfected lords, Elder Gu trembled slightly. Their Yunshao sect merely had two yin-yang perfected lords. One of them was the Grand Elder, who did not participate in the affairs of the external world, while the other was the sect master. Yet right before their eyes, there were actually numerous yin-yang perfected lords in the Yi family. In terms of the number of yin-yang perfected lords, the Yi family actually had much more than Yunshao's sect. Do Yunshao's sect and eldest young lady have enmity? Suddenly, Elder Baikue and Elder Zijin walked over slowly with 10 youths behind them. Elder Bai Kuei and Elder Zijin were administering an assessment for the new young talents previously. About 200 people participated, but only these 10 people truly passed the assessment. Moreover, Elder Bai Kuei realized that the massacre bloodline energy was activated in the body of one of the youths, and it was extremely impressive. Once the assessment ended, Elder Bai Kuei and Elder Zijin wanted to bring these newly recruited disciples to Yi Qingtang and introduce that youth with the massacre bloodline to Yi Qingtang. Yet, they just returned to the Yi residence and was faced with this situation. Yunshao sect. The 10 youths behind Elder Bai Kuei and Elder Zijin had strange expressions. That Yunshao sect actually came to cause trouble to the Yi family. Were they tired of living? Half-step yin-yang perfected lords came to the Yi family to stir trouble and wanted to capture a yang lord. They were truly exposing themselves to ridicule when such a matter was made known to others. Bai Kuei. Formidable Heavens Dynasty. Grand Imperial Sire. Elder Gu was extremely startled after seeing Bai Kuei. Daoist Zijin. Elder Yin's expression changed greatly when his eyes landed on Daoist Zijin. Regardless of Bai Kuei or Daoist Zijin, both were renowned powerful figures of this mainland. Especially Bai Kuei, not only was he the Grand Imperial Sire of formidable Heavens Dynasty, his martial skills were almost the best, for he possessed a cultivation base of yin-yang perfected Lord Third Heaven, Oh. Chapter 1032 So what if it's Yunshao sect? 4. The 2 Yunshao sect elders were dumbfounded as they looked at Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin in disbelief. Why did the 2 renowned powerful figures of this mainland suddenly appear in the Yi family? Even until then, Elder Gu and Elder Yin were still unaware of what exactly had happened in the Yi family, and everything that happened was already beyond their comprehension. How do you intend to settle these 2 people? Daoist Zijin looked at Bai Kuei and asked. Upon hearing that, Bai Kuei waved a hand. You should ask eldest young lady. The 2 yin-yang perfected lords of Yunshao sect came to the Yi residence to capture eldest young lady and offended the Yi family. I think there's no need to ask eldest young lady about these kinds of matters. Let's just put them to death, Daoist Zijin said. As they heard that Daoist Zijin wanted to execute the 2 of them, Elder Gus and Elder Yin's expression changed drastically. Even until then, Elder Gu and Elder Yin still did not know what happened exactly and why the situation developed to this stage. What do you think, Clan Master? Elder Zijin looked at Yiling and asked. Yiling pondered for a moment and subsequently said, These 2 Yunshao sect elders are audacious. Let's execute them as Elder Zijin had suggested. If it was in the past, Yiling would not even have dared to think about this. However, the current Yi family was worlds apart from before, and a mere Yunshao sect was nothing to them. Both Elder Yin and Elder Gu were completely dumbfounded. They simply could not understand the drastic change in the Yi family that seemed to happen in a night. Not only did the Yi family have plenty of insanely talented young disciples, but formidable Heavens Dynasty's Grand Imperial Sire, Bai Kuei, and Daoist Zijin even became elders as well. With just the skills of Elder Bai Kuei and Elder Yin, it was enough to contend against Yunshao sect. It was also to say that the current Yi family was simply no weaker than Yunshao sect. Apart from the foundation of the 2 parties, the quality of the Yi family disciples surpassed that of Yunshao sect by leaps and bounds, and the cultivation skills of Yunshao sect master might lose out to Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin as well. When Daoist Zijin waved his right arm, Elder Gai and Elder Yin turned into dust before everyone's eyes. As the Great Elder and Second Elder watched the 2 Yunshao sect elders disappear, their expressions changed. Even though the current Yi family was extremely powerful, the inherent mindset of the past still made them feel as though they were in a dream. Looking at the Yi family disciples, they were extremely calm as though everything was deserved and right. After the 2 Yunshao sect elders died, Yi Qingtang finally appeared and came to the field. She did not even have the thought of showing herself to two mere Yunshao sect elders. Eldest young lady. Elder Bai Kuei greeted respectfully when he noticed Yi Qingtang. Greetings, eldest young lady. The branch masters and Yin Yang perfected lord of the Sea family bowed hurriedly. The young talents present all looked towards Yi Qingtang in admiration. This is the young lord. The batch of disciples that Elder Bai Kuei brought over looked at Yi Qingtang with eyes filled with surprise and disbelief. The lady before them was not much older than them and simply seemed like the same age, yet she was already a young lord of a Yin Yang perfected lord's seventh heaven. Chapter 1033 Return to the Sect. 1. Naturally, no one dared to voice their doubts. From today onward, the Yi family will wage war against Yunshao's sect. I want Yunshao's sect to cease to exist, Yi Qingtang declared. Yi Ling and the second elder were startled. Yi Qingtang actually planned to annihilate Yunshao's sect. However, given the combat powers of a young lord, it was an easy feat to annihilate Yunshao's sect. Although a sect like Yunshao's sect had extremely powerful foundations, given Yi Qingtang's young lord combat power, it was not impossible to completely destroy Yunshao's sect. Currently, the Yi family was already strong enough, and Xianling's sect came to mind. To completely wipe out Xianling's sect, which had a strong foundation, time was required. The pressing matter at the moment was to head to Xianling's sect and rescue it from Yunshao's sect. Furthermore, it was time to settle the scores with Yunshao's sect. After the trip to the Dragon Vein, Yi Qingtang's martial realm entered the young lord of the Yin Yang perfected lord, and she could easily rescue Xianling's sect without using the power of her bloodline. However, it was not simple to annihilate Yunshao's sect. Although Yunshao's sect did not have any young lords, a sect's foundation was extremely powerful. For example, in the battle between Xianling's sect and Yunshao's sect's skills surpassed that of Xianling's sect massively, but Xianling's sect could still inflict huge damage by relying on its heritage and foundation. Even an ordinary sect like Xianling's sect had such frightening foundation, much less Yunshao's sect, a super sect. Eldest young lady, with those Yunshao's sect senior members, there is nothing to be afraid of. It's just that we are unclear of Yunshao's sect's foundation and heritage. Daoist Zijin looked at Yi Qingtang and said. Yi Qingtang was fully aware of this point without Daoist Zijin's reminder as well. Given the Yin Yang perfected lord's third heaven cultivation base of Daoist Zijin and Bai Kuei, they could defeat Yunshao's sect's grand elder and sect master. However, once Yunshao's sect used their foundation and went all out, the outcome would be uncertain. To completely destroy Yunshao's sect, it was probably insufficient with just Bai Kuei, Daoist Zijin, and the new Yin Yang perfected lords who joined the Yi family. Eldest young lady, I'm afraid you will also need to be present to annihilate Yunshao's sect, Elder Bai Kuei looked at Yi Qingtang and said. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. After discussing the details with Elder Bai Kuei and the rest, Yi Qingtang departed from Lin Town and flew towards Xianling's sect. Currently, the little white tigers seemed to be growing, thus, it was still in a deep sleep. As such, Yi Qingtang left it at the Yi family and did not bring it along with her. Given Yi Qingtang's current speed, she had already arrived at the periphery of Xianling's sect in less than half a day. The sect, which was originally floating in the sky, however, landed on the ground, and the entire sect was enveloped by a faint golden screen. This screen was initially set up by the Blood Moon Holy Lord and could sustain for only half a year. Presently, this screen was no longer as strong as initially, and its light was increasingly dimming. Several Yunshao sect disciples guarded the surroundings of Xianling's sect. Once this screen broke, they would notify the senior members of the sect immediately and wipe out Xianling's sect without sparing anyone. Quickly look. That lady. Chapter 1034 Return to the Sect. 2. one of the Yunshao sect disciples was a little surprised to see Yi Qingtang walking towards Xianling sect slowly. Why is that lady so familiar looking? Before long, another Yunshao sect disciple exclaimed in shock. Yi Qingtang. Although these Yunshao sect disciples had never seen Yi Qingtang face to face, they had seen her portrait before. That Yi Qingtang appeared in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm previously and even obtained a fiend celestial beast. Quick, inform the higher-ups. A Yunshao sect disciple's eyes were burning with desire. Although Yi Qingtang is only an ordinary disciple of Xianling sect, she was enraged our Yunshao sect and was listed on the assassination roll. I never thought that my luck would be so good. A male in white stared at Yi Qingtang, and his lips curled into an icy snicker. Yi Qingtang's skull is indeed valuable. However, it said that Yi Qingtang obtained the fiend celestial beast in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm. If we kill her and end up not being able to find the fiend celestial beast, wouldn't the sect not forgive us? Another man spoke up. Humph. What about that? Let's just break Yi Qingtang's limbs and keep her alive on her last breath. Wait. A fiend celestial beast is very scary, and Yi Qingtang obtained it. No matter how weak Yi Qingtang's martial skills are, she still possesses the fiend celestial beast. Would we be able to block the attack of the fiend celestial beast? What are you afraid of? That fiend celestial beast is merely an infant. That's right. How lethal can it be if it could be taken by a Xianling sect disciple? There's nothing to be fearful of. Then, the few of them immediately rushed towards Yi Qingtang without hesitation. Stop. The youth in the lead stared at Yi Qingtang and shouted coldly. Upon hearing that, Yi Qingtang stopped in her tracks slightly and looked at the men before her. You are Yi Qingtang. The man in the lead sneered. That's right. There were no emotions on Yi Qingtang's face. You're a lady, but I never thought that you would be so bold. The Yunshao sect disciples snickered and the lady before them admitted her identity so simply. Back when Yi Qingtang was in Xianling sect, she was merely an ordinary inner sect disciple, but she formed a deep hatred with Yunshao sect and was listed on the assassination roll. After such a long time, Yi Qingtang reappeared outside Xianling sect, and this was a great thing for the Yunshao sect disciples. Yi Qingtang, if you are sensible, hand over that infant fiend celestial beast, and we can consider sparing your life. What do you think? One of the Yunshao sect disciples looked at Yi Qingtang and sneered. However, before this Yunshao sect disciple could continue speaking, Yi Qingtang raised her right arm a little, and the disciple died instantly without anyone seeing how Yi Qingtang did it. The remaining Yunshao sect disciples were left dumbstruck and in disbelief. To these Yunshao sect disciples, Yi Qingtang's attack was too quick, and they simply did not see how Yi Qingtang attacked. Without giving the people a chance to speak, Yi Qingtang slaughtered all the Yunshao sect disciples in the surroundings in just the blink of an eye. These disciples were already at the peak of martial qi level 2 3rd heaven, and it was considered pretty good. Yet, before Yi Qingtang, they were as frail as pieces of paper. Chapter 1035 Return to the Sect 3. After killing all the ignorant Yunshao sect disciples, Yi Qingtang's eyes slowly landed on the defense barrier around Xianling sect. This barrier was implemented by her cheap little brother, the Blood Moon Holy Lord, whom she was extremely grateful for. Had he not appeared in the end back then, even Yi Qingtang would be uncertain of how the situation would have progressed. What she could be certain of, though, was that Xianling sect definitely would not have persisted until today. In Xianling sect, there were Yi Qingtang's good friends such as Qin Huan and Yun Shu, her master, Elder Mo, as well as Elder Qin, who treated her rather well. However, it was a pity that the Grand Elder was no longer here today. Yi Qingtang did not have any hatred toward the Grand Elder. From a certain aspect, the Grand Elder was even more authentic and human. In Xianling sect, Qin Huan, Yun Shu, and others were gathered in a corner. It had been several months since they had been trapped in Xianling sect. The blood-colored screen above Xianling sect gradually dimmed and was staunchly different from its initial state. Moreover, the masses trapped in Xianling sect were almost running out of supplies. The Xianling sect disciples and senior executives had been taking their food and drinks from within Xianling sect, and all of the stockpiles were stored previously. However, these supplies were almost depleted after nearly half a year, and there were barely any water sources remaining. Currently, the disciples in Xianling sect did not even have water to clean themselves with, much less have food to fill their stomachs. About a month ago, a few Xianling sect disciples took the risk and left the barrier formation, wanting to avoid the Yunshao sect disciples in search for water. However, they were discovered eventually and died in the hands of the Yunshao sect disciples. As sect disciples, they could bear with not having water to wash up. However, not consuming food over a long time was not what they could withstand given their martial cultivation realm. Compared to the Xianling sect disciples, the elders and senior executives were naturally much more powerful in terms of martial cultivation, and thus, their need for food was much smaller. Although the elders and senior executives had already taken out their own food and distributed to the disciples, it was still unable to solve this critical situation. Many Xianling sect disciples were nearing the borders of insanity due to the lack of water and food. Yet despite so, no one dared to leave the defense barrier ever since those Xianling sect disciples who left it were tragically killed by the Yunshao sect people. Qin Huan looked at the pale Yun Shu beside him and sighed. I wonder how junior sister Yi is doing. At the mention of Yi Qingtang, Yun Shu and Lin Long opened their eyes instantly. The few of them missed Yi Qingtang dearly, but they were trapped within Xianling sect for almost half a year and simply could not get any information from the outside world. Junior sister Yi will definitely be fine, Lin Long said. Qin Huan shook his head. That may not be so. I heard that junior sister Yi was listed onto the assassination roll by Yunshao sect. It said that the reward surpassed the total rewards for killing the first and third person on the list. Qin Huan, can't you wish some good for junior sister Yi? Gu Yanqiu rolled his eyes at Qin Huan and said helplessly. Nonsense. Of course, I wish for junior sister Yi to be safe and sound, but what I said is the truth. Junior sister Yi treated Yunshao sect that way previously and caused Yunshao sect to lose face. In addition to such tempting rewards, I'm afraid junior sister Yi is having a hard time. Chapter 1036. Pray. The few of them were extremely worried about Yi Qingtang as well. The war between Xianling sect and Yunshao sect was extremely horrific. Although the Blood Moon sect appeared afterward, the ultimate elder suddenly showed up too, thus causing Xianling sect to be in this state. However, if Yi Qingtang did not appear as the Blood Moon Holy Lady, Xianling sect would probably have been annihilated by Yunshao sect already. Don't worry. Junior sister Yi is a dignified Blood Moon Holy Lady. Blood Moon sect is such a strong force. How can anything happen to junior sister Yi? Yun Shu said. Although the Blood Moon sect is powerful, it is the enemy of this entire mainland. It is an evil cult. Qin Huan said hurriedly. Upon hearing that, some miserable-looking Xianling sect disciples fixed their eyes on Qin Huan successively. If there was no Yi Qingtang or evil cult as mentioned by Qin Huan, they would have already become corpses a long time ago and not talking as they were right now. Without the Blood Moon sect, we would have been dead already, Lin Long said. Qin Huan nodded without retort. His eyes landed on a tomb forest not far away as an inexplicable sorrow emerged on his face. In this half-year, the disciples who once fought for Xianling sect sustained heavy injuries and were unable to be treated by the outside world, eventually passing on. In the past, these brothers and sisters were not afraid of strong enemies, but in the end, they were unable to persist and could no longer see the rays of hope. Other than the Xianling sect disciples, there were several wardens and senior executives who were severely injured as well. In addition to this was the poor environment conditions which resulted in damage to their martial foundation, causing their martial skills to dip extensively. Unable to resolve this mental distress, they eventually fell into depression and died. At this instant, Elder Mo and Elder Qin arrived in the vicinity of the martial arts hall. Looking at the Xianling sect disciples who were lying on the ground and seated everywhere, they could not help but sigh. The sight of this dilapidated Xianling sect led them to recall the prosperity of the past. Greetings, sect master, and two elders. Seeing that the sect master and the elders arrived at the martial arts hall, the Xianling sect disciples hurriedly stood up and bowed at them. Noticing the situation, the Xianling sect master hurriedly waved his hands. There's no need to bow. Quickly rest. Don't waste your energy. Looking at the scrawny and listless Xianling sect disciples and then recalling memories of them in the past, the sect master was in anguish. It was as though there were billions of needles poking at his heart. A long while later, Elder Qin and Elder Mo followed the Xianling sect master to a tomb forest ahead. There were hundreds of tombs in the forest. The bodies of a portion of them no longer existed since the war. Thus, the sect could only build a tomb containing the personal effects of the deceased to mourn those valiant Xianling sect disciples who died in the battle. At the same time, Qin Huan, Yun Shu, and many other disciples followed the sect master to the tomb forest. Brothers, we are here to visit you. Many Xianling sect disciples immediately kneeled and bowed before the tombs. Looking at these nameless tombs, it was as though they returned to the night before the Great War. Everyone drank and chatted together and learned from each other before the bonfire. It was as if those voices and faces never left. The battle cry seemed to ring in their ears again at this very moment. We use our blood to soak Zunling's flag. We use our hearts to light Zunling's anger. We use our hands to hit Zunling's drums. Chapter 1037 Sect Protector Divine Beast. The battle cries still seemed to echo in their ears. Those long-gone faces and familiar bodies were imprinted in the minds of the masses eternally and would never be erased. Sometime later, the Xianling sect master slowly kneeled beside the countless graves. Noticing the situation, Elder Mo, Elder Qin, and the Xianling sect disciples fell on their knees successively and bowed to those heroes who protected the sect with their lives. Junior Brother Zhou! A shout erupted suddenly. Everyone quickly turned around and looked behind. A young man who was all stick and bones completely fainted when he bowed. Noticing the situation, Elder Qin rushed forward hurriedly and held up that young man who was void of color. After inspecting for a moment, he sighed softly. This young Xianling sect disciple was yet another victim of the lack of food supplied. He had not consumed anything for too long, and his martial realm was insufficient from the start, which caused him to faint from hunger. The current Xianling sect was already depleted of all supplies, and the river was all dried up. There no longer was any consumables in the sect. A cultivator and ordinary human was different in that a cultivator's need for food would gradually decrease as their martial realm improved. However, these sect disciples had not reached that stage yet. Moreover, the body would not be replenished if it did not consume anything for a long time, and this would also pose as a life danger over the long run. I remember, the sect still has a few spirit animals. A long time later, Xianling sect master looked at Elder Qin and said. Elder Qin and Elder Mo nodded instinctively. There were indeed a few old spirit animals remaining in the sect. They had rendered their highest service in battles for the sect and were fed and taken care of for the rest of their lifetimes by the sect after they aged. Don't worry, sect master. The spirit animals can barely absorb the spirit energy in the surroundings and don't need to consume anything at the moment, said Elder Mo as he thought the sect master was afraid that the spirit animals would die from hunger. However, resolution filled the sect master's eyes as he said, "Kill them." What? The two elders and everyone else at the scene were taken aback by what the Xianling sect master had said. Distribute the flesh and blood of the spirit animals to our sect disciples. As long as they can hold out an additional day. Xianling sect master seemed to age by dozens of years in an instant. But sect master, for the sect of those spirit animals once, Elder Qin's body trembled slightly. One of the spirit animals had been in Xianling's sect for a longer time than he did and was even older than him. Elder Qin. I understand what you wish to say. Xianling sect master nodded. At this moment, the middle-aged man seemed like an elderly who was about to pass on, and his voice quivered. But these kids are all about to die from hunger. Is there any other solution? Xianling sect master uttered. Indeed, if there was still no food, how much longer could these sect disciples withhold? Was it 1 day or 1 month? Even if he were to become a sinner of Xianling's sect, the Xianling sect master could not bear for these disciples to end up dying from hunger or thirst. As a cultivator, they could die from battles, but how could they die from hunger? At this moment, the disciples were dead silent as well. They did not know what to say, and even if they wanted to, they were almost out of energy. However, before Xianling's sect master could continue to say something, a terrifying roar sounded from outside the sect. An enormous creature hovered above Xianling's sect completely. Above that enormous creatures were a number of Yunshao sect elders and senior executives. Yunshao sect. Sect Protector Divine Beast. Chapter 1038 It's You, 1. Everyone was startled and even in disbelief when they saw the giant creature outside Xianling's sect. After the Yunshao sect Protector Divine Beast was injured by the Blood Moon Holy Lord, it was sent back to Yunshao's sect to recuperate. Unexpectedly, it was actually this powerful now. The past Yunshao sect Protector Divine Beast and the current one were simply worlds apart. Once spirit animals like these advanced in level, their skills would increase massively. The Yunshao sect Protector Divine Beast, actually advanced in level, surprise etched across Elder Mo's face as he looked at the giant creature shrouding over the entire sect. Back then, the Yunshao sect Protector Divine Beast was only an equivalent of a human half-step yin-yang perfected lord, but after the advancement, its combat power paralleled that of a human yin-yang perfected lord's second heaven. Boom! Deafening rumbles followed with every movement the sect Protector Divine Beast took. The already dim red screen above Xianling's sect became even fainter and was completely broken after a few hits. The energy of that defense barrier was already mostly exhausted from the start. Now that the advanced Yunshao sect Protector Beast arrived and attacked the defense barrier with the combat power of a yin-yang perfected lord, it was reasonable that the barrier broke. Previously, after Yunshao's sect learned that Enchanting appeared nearby Xianling's sect, the sect elders immediately rushed over with the sect Protector Divine Beast, which just advanced not long ago. However, after arriving at Xianling's sect, they realized that the Yunshao sect disciples guarding in the area were all dead, and Enchanting was nowhere to be found. Enraged, the Yunshao sect elders decided to destroy Xianling's sect completely first and believed that Enchanting would not be able to continue hiding. However, just as the defense barrier was broken, a shadow suddenly appeared in the sky at lightning speed. In just a few breaths' time, it had already reached the Yunshao sect Protector Divine Beast and blocked it. The Xianling sect members were surprised, especially Elder Mo, who thought that the figure was very familiar after close inspection. That is Junior Sister Yi. Yunshu looked at the lady in the air who blocked the Yunshao sect Protector Beast, and his expression changed immediately. Hearing Yun Shu, everyone took a closer look at the lady and was startled. It was indeed as Yun Shu had said. Who else could that lady be if it was not Enchanting? Enchanting, very quickly, Elder Mo stared at the lady in the sky and uttered in surprise. Wasn't that lady his disciple, Enchanting? The Xianling sect members were all dumbfounded for a moment. Why did Enchanting suddenly appear here? Roar! The Yunshao sect protector divine beast glared at the miniature ant-like human who stood in its way and roared in fury. Enchanting, oh! The Yunshao sect elders on the back of the sect protector divine beast stared at Enchanting, and a trace of elation emerged in their eyes. It seems that the information was true. Enchanting had indeed returned to Xianling sect. Everyone was already aware that Enchanting obtained a fiend celestial beast in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm, and her appearance meant that the infant fiend celestial beast was also in the vicinity. If their Yunshao sect could obtain that fiend celestial beast and offer it to the Baiming Manor, wouldn't their Yunshao sect? Chapter 1039. It's you, too, Enchanting. It's indeed you. A Yunshao sect elder looked at Enchanting and scoffed. Enchanting did not react to him and merely unsheathed a sword from her waist. Ha ha ha, seeing that Enchanting drew a sword out, the few Yunshao sect elders on the back of the sect protector divine beast immediately burst out in laughter. Could it be that this Enchanting still wanted to put up a last fight with them? Swoosh! Nonetheless, before the Yunshao sect elders finished laughing, the smiles were completely frozen on their faces as disbelief and horror filled their eyes. As Enchanting waved her sword, the frightening aura of a young lord surged into the sky, and the sword aura completely enveloped the Yunshao sect protector divine beast. Sensing this unbelievable aura, even the Yunshao sect protector divine beast trembled. Boom boom. A loud roar erupted in the next second. Before the shocked Xianling sect masses, the enormous body of the sect protector divine beast instantly erupted into mists of blood, and the several Yunshao sect elders died along with it at the scene. After slaughtering the Yunshao sect protector divine beast and Yunshao sect elders with one slash, Enchanting immediately turned around and landed in Xianling sect. At this instant, Xianling sect was enshrouded in the supreme energy of a young lord, and those disciples with weak pulses and even those who fainted from hunger were immediately energized. Junior Sister Yi. Qin Huan and the rest were stunned when they saw Enchanting descending from the sky. Was this lady who was brimming with a young lord energy really Enchanting? It had been less than half a year since they were separated from Enchanting, and she had already become one of the few powerful young lords of this mainland in this period of time. Enchanting. Similarly, Elder Mo found this hard to swallow. No matter what, Elder Mo could not believe that Enchanting had actually grown this much in less than half a year. Master, it's been long. I'm late. Enchanting looked at Elder Mo and bowed with cupped fists. Back then in Xianling sect, she took Elder Mo as her master, and he treated her pretty well. Naturally, Enchanting would not forget him. A whole 10 minutes later, Elder Mo finally returned to his senses and nodded rather absent-mindedly. Are you really Enchanting? Elder Qin was clearly shaken as he looked at the lady before him. A young lord was someone whose martial cultivation base was at least at Yin Yang perfected Lord's seventh heaven, an absolutely unrivaled figure on this mainland. Not mentioning a young lord, it would also be unbelievable for Elder Qin even if Enchanting showed up as Yin Lord. It's me. Enchanting nodded in agreement. SHAT, Qin Huan walked to Enchanting's side and inspected Enchanting closely. How can this be? Junior Sister Yi, you're actually. Could it be that I'm hallucinating because I'm too hungry? Enchanting was speechless. However, it was not strange for Qin Huan to say such things given his personality. Senior brother Qin, it really is me, affirmed Enchanting. But... young lord. This is, Qin Huan and the rest found it hard to believe at the moment. However, Enchanting did not wish to discuss this matter too much as it was not something that could be explained clearly in a few sentences after all. Seeing that Enchanting was unwilling to talk about it, everyone understood what to do and no longer mentioned it. Enchanting immediately retrieved plenty of food and water from her space ring and told Qin Huan and the rest to distribute them. Chapter 1040 It's You, 3. There were not many Xianling sect disciples remaining currently. Although the water and food Enchanting brought from the Yi family was not considered a lot, it was still sufficient to solve the crisis. Long before she headed to Xianling sect, she had already realized this issue, thus, she prepared some supplies in a separate space ring. After all, the past Enchanting was also a Xianling sect disciple, and she had some understanding of Xianling sect. It had been almost half a year since Xianling sect was trapped by Yunshao sect, and the stored supplies in the sect were probably already depleted. Elder Mo had complicated feelings as he looked at Enchanting. He would never have thought that his disciple actually became a supreme young lord of this mainland in less than 6 months. Even if he told others this, probably no one would believe that he was the master of a young lord. Xianling sect master was extremely startled to see Enchanting. Even a strong force like Yunshao sect was as weak as an ant before a young lord. Enchanting sighed softly as she looked at the current dilapidated Xianling sect. Apart from food and water, she also took out numerous elixirs from her space ring to distribute out to everyone. These elixirs could temper the body and be extremely beneficial even to an ordinary yin-yang perfected lord. If cultivators at the martial qi stage consumed it, the effects would be multiplied. After consuming the supplies that Enchanting brought, their complexion was way better than before, and after consuming her elixirs, they were full of vigor in at most an hour. It's truly a magic pill. My body did not have any energy before, but now, even if a fierce tiger came, I feel that I can kill it with one punch, Qin Huan commented excitedly. Master, sect master, let the disciples recuperate first, then, rebuild Xianling sect later on, Enchanting said after a long time. Xianling sect master nodded. This was what he hoped for the most. Even in his dreams, he wished to rebuild Xianling sect. Enchanting, can you prevent Yunshao sect from attacking Xianling sect during Xianling sect's reconstruction? Xianling sect master looked at Enchanting and asked in an almost pleading tone. Enchanting was currently a young lord, and as long as she was willing, Xianling sect could be rebuilt easily, and only Enchanting was able to stop Yunshao sect. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World. Site only. What are you saying, sect master? A Xianling sect disciple for a day is a Xianling sect disciple for life, Enchanting said. The Xianling sect master was a little agitated after hearing Enchanting. Enchanting immediately took out some items which she obtained from the mystic realm and handed them all to the sect master. Apart from the numerous weapons and elixirs, there were also talismans that could help with the reconstruction of Xianling sect. Master, sect master, don't worry about Yunshao sect. Now that I'm back, I will definitely destroy and obliterate all traces of Yunshao sect. Enchanting looked at Elder Mo and Xianling sect master and said. Alright, Elder Mo nodded. His disciple was now a young lord, and annihilating Yunshao sect could be easily done. Enchanting, Xianling sect is fortunate to have you. Xianling sect master looked at Enchanting and said. Chapter 1041 Who is afraid of who? 1. If not for Enchanting, Xianling sect would probably already have been annihilated by Yunshao sect half a year ago. Yi Qingtang did not reply. Her eyes were devoid of warmth as she looked at the countless tombs in the surroundings. She would personally take revenge for these disciples who died tragically. Yi Qingtang left after staying in Xianling's sect for a day, and she was at the imperial city the next time she appeared. Yunshao's sect was located within the imperial city of Formidable Heavens dynasty. Eldest young lady. Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin greeted Yi Qingtang with reverence outside the imperial city. All the senior members of the Yi family were dispatched in this operation. The 7 yin-yang perfected lords, including Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin, as well as the disciples, were all present. Yi Qingtang had made up her mind to destroy Yunshao's sect completely this time, no matter what it took. All right. Yi Qingtang swept her eyes across the army of people. Excluding herself, this force of the Yi family was sufficient to overpower Yunshao's sect substantially. Currently, Yunshao's sect had not warred against the Yi family but already had heavy losses. 5 elders were killed by Yi Qingtang, and even Yunshao's sect's most important combat force, the sect protector Divine Beast, was also slain by Yi Qingtang. Eldest young lady, do you still need to make any preparations? Daoist Zijin looked at Yi Qingtang and asked. No, said Yi Qingtang. Amir Yunshao's sect did not have any qualifications to make her prepare anything. Although Yunshao's sect's foundation was strong, it posed no threat to a young lord no matter how strong it was. Moreover, Yi Qingtang would not give Yunshao's sect any time or chance to activate their foundation. At this instant, a group of guards at the imperial city saw Yi Qingtang and the rest and originally wanted to stop them. However, after seeing Bai Kuei, all of them were dumbfounded, and no longer had any intention to stop them. Visit website Our List Novel. Bai Kuei was Formidable Heavens dynasty's Grand Imperial Sire and the Yin-Yang Perfected Lord Third Heaven figure. Once the guards returned to their senses and wanted to greet the Grand Imperial Sire, they realized that the troop of people had already entered the Imperial City and were nowhere to be seen. About 15 minutes later, Elder Bai Kuei led Yi Qingtang to the periphery of the Imperial City. Right ahead was Yunshao's sect. Although a super sect like Yunshao's sect had nothing to do with the Formidable Heavens dynasty, it was situated within the Imperial City, and thus, Elder Bai Kuei knew something about it. Although Yunshao's sect's foundation is powerful, it is nothing to you, eldest young lady. However, it said that one of their sect protector Divine Beast seemed to have advanced recently, and its combat power is rather high, Elder Bai Kuei said. I have already killed that sect protector Divine Beast, said Yi Qingtang. Elder Bai Kuei nodded and was not surprised at all. No matter how powerful that Yunshao's sect protector Divine Beast was, it was as weak as a piece of paper before a young lord and could be easily killed without much effort. A cold glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes as she looked at Yunshao's sect ahead. Swoosh! Numerous Yi family war flags flew in the air. Kill! Daoist Zijin shouted sternly. Along with Daoist Zijin's orders, countless powerful auras surged to the sky and instantly enveloped Yunshao's sect in them. Chapter 1042 Who is afraid of who? 2. Sensing the aura of the Yi family powerful figures, the senior members and wardens of Yunshao's sect were alarmed. Who is so daring to behave unmannerly at my Yunshao's sect? A warden instantly flew out of Yunshao's sect and yelled sternly. This Yunshao's sect warden's eyes were ice cold. He had been at Yunshao's sect for a long time and never once thought that there would be anyone who dared to act wildly at the doorsteps of Yunshao's sect. The Yunshao sect warden was startled when he saw the Yi family war flags. This war flag appeared very foreign, and he did not know which force these people were from. Who are you all? Report your names. How dare you all behave so wildly at the doorsteps of my Yunshao sect? The Yunshao sect warden looked at Yi Qingtang and the rest and shouted sternly. Bai Kuei. Elder Bai Kuei stepped forward and said coldly. Upon hearing that, the Yunshao sect warden frowned slightly. When he saw Bai Kuei's face clearly, he was taken aback and extremely astounded. As a Yunshao sect warden, it was impossible for him to not know the formidable Heavens Dynasty's Grand Imperial Sire, the most powerful cultivator of formidable Heavens Dynasty with a horrifying combat power of a Yin-Yang perfected Lord Third Heaven. Formidable Heavens Dynasty Grand Imperial Sire. Very quickly, the Yunshao sect warden frowned as he looked at Elder Bai Kuei. Grand Imperial Sire Bai Kuei, what is the meaning of this? Although Bai Kuei was the Grand Imperial Sire of formidable Heavens Dynasty, he never had any enmity with Yunshao sect. Not mentioning this Grand Imperial Sire, Yunshao sect and formidable Heavens Dynasty had always minded their own businesses without interfering with the other. It thus seemed unacceptable that the formidable Heavens Dynasty's Grand Imperial Sire brought so many cultivators and behaved this way at the doorsteps of Yunshao sect. As he spoke, 10+ wardens and several elders rushed out of Yunshao sect. Bai Kuei, our Yunshao sect and the formidable Heavens Dynasty never had anything to do with each other. What is the meaning of your actions today? An elderly with white hair shouted coldly at Bai Kuei. The person who spoke was Yunshao sect's great elder, Zhou Tian. He was at the peak of Yin-Yang perfected Lord Second Heaven and was considered acquaintances with Bai Kuei. Zhou Tian, I am not here today as the Grand Imperial Sire of formidable Heavens Dynasty, Bai Kuei snickered as he looked at that elderly. After hearing that, the Yunshao sect great elder frowned deeply as he did not understand what Bai Kuei meant. Regardless of what identity Bai Kuei was assuming to challenge the Yunshao sect, given Yunshao sect's foundation, they were not the least afraid even if the entire formidable Heavens Dynasty royals attacked them, much less Bai Kuei. Humph. The Grand Elders of Yuehua sect and Lingyun sect are here at Yunshao sect as visitors. If you know what's good for you, leave now. Yunshao sect can treat it as though nothing happened today. The Yunshao sect great elder looked at Bai Kuei impatiently. Kill. Nonetheless, Bai Kuei did not bother as he raised his right arm and shouted coldly. As Elder Bai Kuei gave his orders, the Yin-Yang perfected lords of the Yi family immediately charged towards the Yunshao sect wardens and elders. Noticing the situation, the talented Yi family disciple smirked. One of the youths at half-step Yin-Yang perfected Lord Realm snickered. I've heard that Yunshao sect is arrogant and conceited, but I never thought that it would be to this extent. Brothers and sisters, let's show Yunshao sect what disparity is. Kill. In a moment, hundreds of talented disciples flexed their muscles, drew their weapons, and attacked Yunshao sect. Chapter 1043 Who is afraid of who? 3. Noticing the situation, the Yunshao sect great elder was stunned and was even in disbelief. Originally, he thought that Bai Kuei would definitely not dare to really take action, yet currently. You have a death wish. The Yunshao sect wardens hollered furiously and slashed their swords at the Yin-Yang perfected lords charging towards them. A warden's eyes were filled with malice and evil as he attacked a branch master of the Yi family. That branch master joined the Yi family not long ago, but he was extremely skilled. His energy and aura were overwhelming and even more powerful than ordinary Yin-Yang perfected lords, which was why Yi Qingtang specially appointed him as a branch master. Boom, boom. In the next second, the Yunshao sect warden's sword landed on the branch master's left shoulder. However, at this instant, the Yunshao sect warden was appalled. When his sword landed on this person, it was as though he was slashing extremely hard metal. The Yi family branch master was unharmed, and the Yunshao sect warden's hand numbed instead. Do you only have this little strength? The Yi family branch master looked at the Yunshao sect warden and immediately stretched his neck. How disappointing. The Yunshao sect warden was infuriated. However, after sensing the aura of this middle-aged man before him, he was instantly dumbfounded, and his eyes widened. Yin Yang. Perfected Lord. This Yunshao sect warden never thought that this plain-looking middle-aged man would actually be a Yin Yang perfected lord. Die! The Yi family branch master shouted coldly and gently slashed the Yunshao sect warden's neck using his palm as a knife. In an instant, the Yunshao sect warden's skull flew to the sky while his headless body staggered a few steps before falling to the ground. He was breathless in no time and died. Yin Yang perfected lord, also a Yin Yang perfected lord, how can it be? The ordinary elders and wardens of Yunshao sect paled after sensing the aura of the powerful figures of the Yi family. There were several Yin Yang perfected lords among the cultivators that Bai Kuei brought over. There were only a few Yin Yang perfected lords in Yunshao sect. Get lost! The Yunshao sect great elder yelled angrily and focused power in his fingertip to force a Yin Yang perfected lord to retreat. The Yunshao sect great elder had already reached the peak of a Yin Yang perfected lord's second heaven, and it was simply impossible for an ordinary Yin Yang perfected lord to fight against him. Zhou Tian, let me play with you. Suddenly, Daoist Zijin leaped out and instantly turned into fast shadows that intersected and overlapped each other in the air so rapidly that one could not distinguish him with the naked eye. Daoist Zijin. The Yunshao sect great elder was astonished to see Daoist Zijin. Daoist Zijin was renowned and had a reputation in this mainland. However, why would he and the formidable Heavens Dynasty's Grand Imperial Sire Bai Kuei come here to fight against Yunshao sect? Humph! The Yunshao sect great elder sneered as his palm met Daoist Zijin's. Boom! A loud sound erupted as though the sky exploded. The Yunshao sect great elder retreated backward as blood seeped out from the corners of his mouth, clearly in the disadvantage from the one-palm confrontation with Daoist Zijin earlier. Chapter 1044 Skill 1. The Great Elder stared at the number of people in Bai Kuei's team and frowned heavily. There were at least 7 Yin Yang perfected lords including Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin. Furthermore, both of their abilities had passed the third heaven of the Yin Yang perfected lord. Though their force was extremely strong, there were guests from the Baiming Manor in the Yunshao sect today besides the Grand Elders from the Yuehua sect and the Lingyun sect. If Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin dared to attack them, they would definitely provoke the Baiming Manor. Yunshao sect belonged to the Baiming Manor. Bai Kuei, Daoist Zijin, the Yunshao sect has nothing to do with you. If you still want to challenge us, we will not hold back anymore. The great elder of Yunshao sect stared at the few Yin Yang perfected lords and shouted coldly. Daoist Zijin scoffed and said, Zhou Tian, what's the point of holding back when it has come to this situation? Furthermore, how will Yunshao sect care for us anyway? The great elder of the Yunshao sect clenched his teeth tightly and wished that he could tear Daoist Zijin's skin. Boom! Suddenly, a few shadows rushed towards the crowds of wardens. Within a few breaths, a few wardens' heads were chopped off by branch masters of the Yi family. The great elder of the Yunshao sect was very strong but was weaker than Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin. He was about to run when he realized that the situation was not good for him. Where do you want to go? Bai Kuei scoffed and followed the great elder immediately. However, a few elders of the Yunshao sect immediately rushed forward to block Bai Kuei's way. Get lost! Bai Kuei shouted. Before anyone could realize what was going on, the few elders who were at half-step Yin Yang perfected lord level were thrown out by Bai Kuei's aura. The great elder of the Yunshao sect fled into the Yunshao sect at the same time. Bai Kuei exchanged a glance with Daoist Zijin. There were many powerful people in the Yunshao sect. It was too risky for the two of them to break into Yunshao sect unless Enchanting took the lead. However, Enchanting was the strongest force of the Yi family. She could not just attack impulsively without the appearance of the main opponent. When Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin were discussing what they should do next, around 10 people walked out of the Yunshao sect under the Great Elder's lead. The two elders in white robe were the Grand Elders of the Yuehua sect and the Lingyun sect. They came to the Yunshao sect as they heard that guests from the Baiming Manor were here. However, the Great Elder of the Yunshao sect said that there were people here to find trouble with them. There was a middle-aged man in a purple robe standing there with prestige. A golden cloud was sewed on his chest area. The man was the sect master of the Yunshao sect. Bai Kuei, Daoist Zijin, are there any misunderstandings between the Yunshao sect and you? Why would you come here to find trouble with us? The sect master of the Yunshao sect looked at Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin and said indifferently. There were 7 yin-yang perfected lords in the crowd. You offended someone that you should never even try to provoke. The punishment will be the extermination of the Yunshao sect. Daoist Zijin scoffed and said. Chapter 1045 Skill 2. The sect master shouted in rage, Bai Kuei, I respect you as the grand imperial sire of the formidable Heavens dynasty. For all these years, Yunshao sect had nothing to do with the formidable Heavens dynasty. You come here for death today. We come here for death. Bai Kuei stared at the Yunshao sect master and sneered. Who was the one that was going to die? Humph. An elder landed from mid-air and scoffed heavily. No one dared to offend us like this since the Yunshao sect was established a few hundred years ago. How dare you say that you want to exterminate my sect today? The Yunshao sect master nodded towards the elder, who was the grand elder of the Yunshao sect. He was at the peak of the 3rd heaven of yin-yang perfected lord. Li Shihai, a cold glint flashed across Bai Kuei's eyes as he saw the grand elder of the Yunshao sect. When Bai Kuei was the crown prince of the formidable Heavens dynasty, Li Shihai was the sect master of the Yunshao sect. They had no interactions back then. However, around 10 years ago, a beloved lady of Bai Kuei was taken away by Li Shihai using some tricks. Though Bai Kuei and the lady was not married to him, he resented Li Shihai for taking away his wife. After that, Bai Kuei became the emperor of the formidable Heavens dynasty, and Li Shihai became the sect master of Yunshao sect. After becoming the emperor, Bai Kuei took the responsibility of ruling the entire formidable Heavens dynasty. He could not just take his revenge from Li Shihai. Until today, humph, I was still thinking who's here. Bai Kuei, based on your ability, what can you do to me? You could not do anything back then when you were the crown prince of formidable Heavens dynasty. Your beloved lady still came to me. I shall tell you here. Indeed, I used some tricks to get her. However, she killed herself not long after I got here. What can you do today even though you know all this? The grand elder of the Yunshao sect landed slowly and scoffed as he stared at Bai Kuei. The two grand elders of Yuehua sect and Lingyun sect had odd expressions. Though they were aware that the grand elder of the Yunshao sect was very arrogant, he should not reveal all the inhumane things he did in the past in front of everyone. It was fortunate that there were no disciples present. If not, his reputation, of course, Li Shihai never cared for his reputation. He only acted according to his own preferences. Li Shihai. You're seeking your own death. Bai Kuei's face was flushed, and veins could be seen on his forehead. Though Bai Kuei was at the age that he could resist all temptations, as a martial cultivator, the hatred he had could last forever. The main culprit who took away his wife dared to reveal everything again. Swoosh! Bai Kuei took out a purple black-grade divine weapon. As he waved his sword, the great aura of a yin-yang perfected lord rushed into the sky as if he was going to tear Li Shihai into pieces. The Grand Elder of Yunshao sect scorned. His body turned into a shadow, and he took out a simplistic sword from his space ring. At the next second, he was next to Bai Kuei. The two shadows were appearing everywhere as they fought against each other. However, Bai Kuei was disadvantaged within 10 attacks. Bai Kuei was at the third heaven of the Yin-Yang perfected Lord. However, the Grand Elder of Yunshao sect was at the peak of third heaven of Yin-Yang perfected Lord. Chapter 1046 Skill 3. It was lucky for Bai Kuei that he was able to last 10 attacks against the Grand Elder. He would be dreaming if he could beat the Grand Elder of Yunshao sect with his own ability. Humph, it seems like you don't even see me with your eyes. Daoist Zijin scoffed when he saw that Bai Kuei was not able to fight against the Grand Elder. He immediately came towards them and joined the fight together with Bai Kuei. Li Shihai, you're such a rotten asshole. Wait for my ruling gourd. Daoist Zijin took out a gourd and threw it into the air. The three of them were sucked in by the ruling gourd immediately. The gourd suddenly grew in size and became transparent. Everything happening inside could be seen clearly from outside. Ha ha ha, the ruling gourd was plucked from the ancient ruling tree on Tiankun Mountain. It's able to block all martial ability. Rotten asshole, don't dream to use any of your ability inside here. Daoist Zijin scorned. Everyone else was shocked as they heard his words. Such a terrifying Dharma treasure, the Grand Elder's expression changed as he could feel that all his martial ability in his body was disappearing. How come I feel that my martial ability is lost as well? Suddenly, Bai Kuei looked at Daoist Zijin, frowned, and asked. Of course, everyone's martial ability will be lost inside my ruling gourd, Daoist Zijin said. Bai Kuei nodded and asked, how about you? Same. Daoist Zijin explained. Bai Kuei's lips twitched. So what was the point for Daoist Zijin putting all of them inside the ruling gourd? Hee, then the two of you are pieces of junk as well. The Grand Elder of Yunshao sect laughed coldly. The two of us are good enough to beat you. Daoist Zijin scorned as well. Kill him. Daoist Zijin rushed towards the Grand Elder immediately. In other people's eyes, the two powerful Yin-Yang perfected lords now fought like gangsters without any martial ability. What are you waiting for? Daoist Zijin looked towards Bai Kuei as he fought against the Grand Elder. Bai Kuei did not hesitate and joined the fight. The two of them kicked and punched the Grand Elder heavily. Based on their third heaven of Yin-Yang perfected lord's ability, they would not able to beat the Grand Elder even if they combined their forces. The difference between the normal third heaven and the peak was huge. However, inside the gourd that restricted all martial ability, the three of them were just normal people. The consequences were clear when the two of them fought against a useless Grand Elder. Within a short while, the Grand Elder was injured heavily. His face was swollen under Daoist Zijin's and Bai Kuei's punches. The side with more people would, of course, have more advantages than the other side in the ruling gourd. Chapter 1047 Skill 4. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched a little as she witnessed the situation inside the gourd. This might be the most special fight she had seen between Yin-Yang perfected lords. It was almost impossible to find others who fought like Daoist Zijin and Bai Kuei in the world. They were no different from gangsters. There were no tricks. All their punches landed heavily on the Grand Elder. The Grand Elder cursed in rage inside the gourd as he wished to tear them into pieces. However, he could not defend himself at all. Occasionally, he managed to kick Daoist Zijin, but the kick seemed to have no effect. Buzz! Around half an hour later, a weird sound came out of the ruling gourd. The three of them were thrown out by the gourd as it returned to its original size. What happened? Bai Kuei asked. There is a time limitation to the ruling gourd. Apparently time's up. What a pity that we didn't manage to beat him to death, Daoist Zijin said. Though the Grand Elder was a piece of junk inside the ruling gourd, it was easy for the two of them to fight against him, but it was hard to kill him. The Grand Elder's injuries were all recovered without any traces after leaving the ruling gourd. As his martial ability was regained, the injuries from the punches would definitely be gone. It seems you have a death wish. After regaining his martial ability, the Grand Elder stared at Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin. As he shouted, the aura of the peak level of Yin-Yang perfected Lord Third Heaven exploded and surrounded the two of them. The Grand Elder turned into a shadow in the next second. He was so fast that he landed beside Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin within a split second. The three of them were engaged in the fight again. However, within a few breaths, Daoist Zijin and Bai Kuei were thrown out. Hee, how much hatred do you have towards me, Bai Kuei? I made you feel the greatest humiliation as a man. However, you cannot do anything to me. So heartbreaking. The Grand Elder scorned as he stared at Bai Kuei. A cold glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes at that. She wished that Bai Kuei could settle this thing by himself previously. However, based on the current situation, Bai Kuei was not able to fight against the Grand Elder. Really? Yi Qingtang scorned. Yi Qingtang lifted her right arm slightly. Without realizing what was happening, the Grand Elder lost control of his body under a strong and irresistible force. The sect master of Yunshao sect was enraged. He did not feel the intense force from Yi Qingtang. He thought that it was just a junior brought by Bai Kuei. How dare you to speak up as a junior? You're seeking your own death. Before the Grand Elder was pulled to Yi Qingtang, the Yunshao sect master flew and smashed his palm towards her. How dare you? A few branch masters immediately surrounded Yi Qingtang and fought off the Yunshao sect master. The two Grand Elders of Yuehua sect and Lingyun sect frowned heavily as they witnessed the scene. Chapter 1048 Skill 5. The two of them rushed forward and forced the branch masters to step back with their strong martial aura. The Grand Elder of Yuehua sect sneered. Young people, do you know what respect is? If you apologize to the Yunshao sect and leave now, maybe we can spare your lives, the Grand Elder of Lingyun sect said. Grand Elders, you have nothing to do with what's going on here. Or do you want to be involved as well? Yi Qingtang stepped out to face the two Grand Elders. The two Grand Elders were shocked by the young lad's words. This young lady seems familiar. Have I seen her somewhere else? The Grand Elder of Yuehua sect looked at Yi Qingtang in surprise. Is she, the disciple of Xianling sect? The one who was so lucky to get the infant fiend celestial beast at the 100-level peril hell of Avicenaraka? The Grand Elder of Lingyun sect sized up Yi Qingtang, and his eyes were filled with joy. They had seen drawings of Yi Qingtang before. The young lady in front of them must be the Xianling sect disciple Yi Qingtang. And she had an infant fiend celestial beast. Ha ha ha. I did not expect to be so lucky today to be at the Yunshao sect. The Grand Elder of Lingyun sect laughed. He must get the infant fiend celestial beast today. Young one, hand over the infant fiend celestial beast, and he'll spare your life. The Grand Elder of Yuehua sect stared at Yi Qingtang and tried to threaten her. Are you even qualified to get the fiend celestial beast? Yi Qingtang scanned through the two Grand Elders coldly. The two Grand Elders were enraged upon hearing her words. They did not expect that the young one would be so rude and arrogant that she was not even afraid of her own death. However, at the next second, their pupils constricted. The aura of a young lord rushed into the sky. It seemed that an ancient god-fiend arrived and surrounded everything in darkness, forcing everyone to kneel down in fear. The two Grand Elders felt that their bodies were about to be ripped apart by the terrifying aura of a young lord. They did not even question that they would be killed without any traces left as long as the person in front of them wished to. Young lord. How is this even possible? The Grand Elder of Lingyun Sect's face was pale as he stared at Enchanting, who appeared to be a giant god-fiend. His body was soaked with cold sweat. Young lord. Only when one reached the seventh heaven of Yin Yang perfected lord could a person then be called a young lord. However, the person in front of them was at the peak of seventh heaven of Yin Yang perfected lord. She was just a little step away from entering the eighth heaven. Only at this moment did the Grand Elder of Yuehua sect understand that the person was not a disciple of Xianling sect. He found it weird how a disciple could survive in the 100-level peril hell of Avicenaraka and get a fiend celestial beast. It was even more unbelievable that she was able to leave the hell of Avicenaraka with the fiend celestial beast. Everything could be explained if the person was a young lord. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.